Hi, welcome to the Soothing Stitches tutorial on how to do brick stitch. So this brick stitch was originally used in our Virginia Meadow pattern, and we used it to fill in the stalk of the sunflower in the background. So brick stitch is a great stitch for filling in large pieces as an alternative to satin stitch, and I particularly like to use it in the stems of leaves and flowers. So how you start off your brick stitch is by creating a row of back stitch on the line of the pattern in your embroidery. Just an ordinary row of back stitch as you would usually use if you were creating a one-line stem or similar. Once you finish your first line of back stitch, you're going to start your second row. And so you come up at your end point and push your needle down for a normal back stitch. But instead of the full length of the stitch in your first row, you're going to come up at the halfway point. So your row next to the current row you are sewing is your guide row. And instead of the stitches matching your guide row one for one, you're using the halfway point of each stitch in your guide row to create your current row. So as you go along, it's still same back stitch, but you're coming up at the halfway point of a stitch in your guide row and pulling your thread back into your back stitch in your current row. And you'll carry on doing this back stitch technique using the halfway stitch on your guide row throughout the next pattern and continue on your brick stitch. Once you get to the end of your current row, you'll bring your needle up at the end point, and the next stitch is going to be a small little half stitch using your guide row as a measure. So small little half stitch, then you continue on with your back stitch, and it's actually going to be the same measure as your first row, but using your guide row, you're still just going up at the halfway point on your guide row stitch and back over to create your back stitch. You just complete doing alternate these rows of back row stitches until your pattern is completely filled in.